Hi everyone, it's Christina from the DIYmommy.com, and today I want to share with you 4 different DIYs for fall using supplies from the Dollar Tree. I'm so excited about these crafts, you guys. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with some of the Dollar Tree products this fall, but I had a day just to myself. My kids were at day camp, and I had a whole bunch of really exciting ideas come to me, so I hope you love these ideas as much as I do. They all have sort of a boho romantic spin to them, which you know that I love, and I know a lot of you love too, so let's get started. We're going to begin by turning these Dollar Tree pumpkins into some shabby chic beauties. So first of all, I removed the stem off of these foam Dollar Tree pumpkins, and then I took some chalky finish paint that I found at the dollar store as well, put the paint on top of the pumpkins, and used a foam brush from the Dollar Tree to spread the paint over the pumpkins. If you're using a white paint like I am, which I really love for farmhouse and shabby chic decor, you're going to need to put 2 or 3 coats of paint on your pumpkins to cover up the darker colors underneath. You don't have to be too exact because these are going to be rustic and distressed, so just make sure to cover the entire pumpkin each time with a coat of paint, let one coat dry, and then after the coat is dry, apply another coat of paint. After your paint is finished, take a sanding sponge and start to distress the pumpkins like I'm doing here by just sanding on the raised portions of the pumpkins. I found my sanding sponge at my hardware store. And this makes them look nice and distressed. After this, you can take a tack cloth or any type of sticky cloth, and you can just remove any of the excess sandpaper residue off of the pumpkins. Now I'm taking this crochet lace trim from Dollar Tree as well and creating a cute little bow. You can make them any size you want for your little pumpkins and then trim off the excess trim with some scissors. Next, take a glue gun and dab a little bit of hot glue onto the middle of the bow and place it near the stem of your pumpkin. Next, take some of the Dollar Tree hydrangeas. These are the ones that they have this year, 2019 for fall. I'm just taking 1 petal, and then you could also take some of the foamy sort of berries. I'm using white berries from the Dollar Tree as well. Just remove a little portion of the stem and glue it in place on the top of the pumpkin. So here's my first version of these adorable shabby chic romantic pumpkins, and then for a simpler version, you can take one of the painted pumpkins, you can put a little sprig of the Dollar Tree white berries on top like this, and just leave it like that for a little bit more of a simple look. I really love how these turned out. I do love how the Dollar Tree already had this beautiful coppery colored stem, this rose gold stem. So when I popped it back onto the painted pumpkin, it worked so well with the flowers and the lace and everything all together. I think I'm going to use these in a tiered tray, so stay tuned for that decor coming soon. Next, I want to show you how I made a really simple fall Dollar Tree wreath. I did this wreath this summer, you might remember it, so I like to just reuse what I have if I can. So I'm just removing all of the decorations from this wreath. They were just tacked on with hot glue, so I'm just easily removing all of them. And then I'm reusing this wreath form from the Dollar Tree. So here are some supplies that I used from the Dollar Tree for this wreath, just a variety of their faux florals, some copper string lights, some trim, and this burlap pumpkin. I'm loving the more warmer toned burlap pumpkins they have at Dollar Tree this year. I also loved these nice romantic shabby chic sort of roses they had, so I'm just using my glue gun and tacking them on, just kind of where I think they look really nice on the wreath. And don't worry and don't kind of think too hard about this, just play around with placements of the flowers, and once you place everything, go ahead and glue it all in place with a hot glue gun. I liked these faux wheat sprigs from Dollar Tree, however I didn't like the really bright orange leaves in them, so I just removed the tops of the wheat, and I'm using those in this wreath as well. And again, just use small dabs of hot glue, and then if you want to restyle this wreath for the next season, maybe for Christmas soon, you can take everything off really easily, leave some things on, take some things off, and reuse it again for the next season. I also love these burlap oak leaves from Dollar Tree. They've been at Dollar Tree the last few years, and I'm using them on either side of my florals in my wreath as well. And then I'm reusing the raffia ribbon bow that I had in my summertime wreath and putting a dab of glue on that and putting it up here as well. So now here I'm using the copper string lights from Dollar Tree. I'm just hot gluing the battery pack onto the back of my wreath just like this. And you're just going to have to make sure to let it dry completely so it sticks on nice and well. And then you can take the rest of the copper wire and just kind of put it all around your flowers, wrap it around the wreath, just place it and stick it into the grapevine wreath in any spots that work. And then once you turn the wreath on, it looks like this. It's all lit up and sparkly, which I think is such a beautiful look for fall when the nights get darker and you want something that's a little bit magical and cozy looking. This lit up wreath is so sweet for fall, and I love that all the supplies are from the Dollar Tree. Now I want to show you how to make a beautiful fall pillow out of Dollar Tree napkins. I found these napkins at Dollar Tree. I love the plaid pattern, and they happen to be about 10 by 20 inches, which is the same size as a pillow insert that I had. So just make sure to iron your towels like I'm doing here to make sure that they're nice and smooth. And then I printed out this grateful sign. I will leave a link to it down in the description box below if you want to print out the same one using the same font. The font is called So Lovely. And then I'm starting doing the poor man's version of image transfer. I'm taking a pencil and just rubbing that all over the back of the pattern, and then I'm taping the pattern onto the center of the pillow like this. Next, you can go ahead and go over the letters of the pattern with a nice sharp pen, and then make sure as you're going along that they're transferring with that pencil to the fabric. This is going to give me a nice outline to follow. You could just kind of eyeball these letters when you are doing the embroidery portion, which I'll show you soon, but I just wanted to have a guideline. If this is really light like mine was, you can go ahead and trace over the letters again with a pencil after you've transferred them onto the towel. So I'm making my pillow say grateful so that it's going to work for the fall into Thanksgiving, which here in Canada is early October. Next, take some embroidery floss. I found this on Amazon, but you can also find it at the Dollar Tree, and just cut off a portion of it, put it in an embroidery needle like I'm doing here. I had a bagel cutting incident in the middle of this video, so that's why I have a band-aid on for a portion of this. And then go ahead and use a running stitch and follow the lines of the letters that you made. So a running stitch is when you just put your needle up and through the fabric and then back and down into the prior stitch. So it just makes a nice straight line, and you're just going to follow along on the image transfer that you made. So I'm using basically a dark gold color, almost a copper color string, because I'm loving those ambers, those golds, and those copper for fall this year. But you could use any sort of color that you want of embroidery floss. You could just use black if you want a nice monochromatic pillow, or any color that you wish. You could also choose to add some more embroidery elements. I decided to keep it simple with just the letters by themselves, but you could consider adding some flowers or some other beautiful elements, maybe some fall leaves to your design as well. So after you finish stitching the letters of your pattern, you can turn your towel to the back side and make sure you create a nice firm knot to keep all of that embroidery in place. You could also put your towel in an embroidery hoop to keep it nice and smooth, but I just did mine with my hands and just kept it tight like that. Next, put another towel over top of the first one, make sure the right sides are together, and then pin them in place together. I just wanted to make sure that the plaid lines were lined up on mine, so that when you looked at the pillow when it was all sewn, all of the lines of the plaid were nice and straight. Then go ahead and take a sewing machine and sew all the way around the pillow. However, you want to leave a nice 12-inch approximately long hole in the bottom of the pillow, so you can turn the pillow right side out and put the insert in afterwards. Make sure to backstitch at the beginning and the end, and use about a 1/2 inch seam allowance. You could also consider hand stitching this if you don't have a sewing machine. After that, I like to clip the corners of my pillows like I'm doing here. This makes the corners less bulky when it's turned right side out. Then go ahead and turn your pillow right side out. Make sure to push those corners out with your finger or with some blunt end of a knitting needle or scissors. And then you can take an approximately 10 by 20, perhaps even a 12 by 20 pillow might work here, and put it into the pillow that you've created. Then you could consider using buttons for the opening if you want. I'm going to just go ahead and sew my opening shut with what's called an invisible stitch. So I'm just using a needle and a thread, and I'm going into the seam, up, and then into the other side of the pillow, down and up, and just going back and forth like that. So when you wash this pillow, you'll probably just want to wash it by hand altogether, the insert with the pillow cover, or you can put it in your washing machine on the hand wash function and then just lay it flat to dry. So after you've reached the end of your hand stitching portion, you can just tie a nice firm knot and cut the rest of the thread off. And this is how this sweet fall pillow turned out. I'm really happy with how this one looks. I love the hand stitching, the embroidery, so sweet and so perfect for fall, and I love that it only cost a couple of dollars to make. Now I want to show you how I transformed this farmhouse pumpkin sign into a beautiful boho pumpkin decoration. So I took this Farm Fresh sign I found at Dollar Tree. I'm using this chalk style paint again in white. I do like this sign, but I thought that I could create something really unique and just more my boho romantic shabby chic style. And yeah, it was really fun. So first take the chalk paint and go ahead and paint over top of the pumpkin how it is now. It is definitely hard to paint black over white. If you wanted to, you could flip the whole thing around and paint over the cardboard color on the other side. I went ahead and painted the front because I wanted to use that leaf in the front. In retrospect, I probably could have just turned the leaf around on the wire and painted the back. So you could try that instead if you wanted to do that, and you might have to use less coats of this chalk paint if you do that, which would probably be a good idea. I think I used 3 or 4 coats of chalk paint. Just make sure to let the first coat of paint dry before you go ahead and do the second and third and potentially the 4th coat of paint. After the paint is all dry, go ahead and use a sanding sponge again to distress the pumpkin. So you're going to go over any of the raised edges. I sanded over the leaf portion of my pumpkin as well and the edges of the pumpkin. That's going to give it a nice distressed look if you like that shabby chic style. Then you can take a tack cloth and that's going to remove any of the dust that you've created. And I love how this just adds a little bit of extra to that leaf and the edges of the pumpkin. Now take some macrame cord. I already had some. I found it on Amazon. I will link it below. Cut off a section that's just slightly longer than the width of the pumpkin and tack it on to about the top 3rd section of the pumpkin with some hot glue. So I'm just going ahead and wrapping that string around the back of the pumpkin and tacking it on the back just like this. Then after that, you can take some more macrame cord and measure from the bottom to the cord and then to the bottom again, multiply that by 2, and then cut about 8 of those pieces of macrame cord. You could do more, you could double that and do 16, or you could do 12. I decided to do 8 just to keep this project nice and simple. Then you're going to attach those by folding them in half and attaching them as a lark's head knot onto the top piece of macrame cord. So you're folding them in half, placing them on top of the string, and then bringing the ends up and through the loop that you created. And then just make sure they're nice and evenly spaced on the first string that you used. Then you're going to go ahead and create square knots across the top of this banner that you're making. So to create a square knot, you take 4 pieces of macrame cord, take the leftmost cord, put it in a C across the 2 middle cords, and then take the right cord, put it over and under and through that first cord. That's 1/2 of a square knot. Then to complete your square knot, you're going to take the right cord, put it in a backward C over the middle 2 pieces, take the left cord, put it over, under, up, and through. And then you can tighten everything just like I'm doing here. And that's a square knot, and that's the only macrame knot besides the lark's head knot that we're going to use for this piece. So continue making these square knots all the way across this banner that we're making, and you can just, since you have 16 cords, you're going to have 4 knots across this section. Once you've done that, you're going to be on the right hand side. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and do a second row of these, but just instead of using the first 4 cords, you're going to skip over the first 2 and use the next 4 cords to create this diamond pattern and make a square knot with those 4 cords and continue on like this. So you're going to have 2 cords that are left out of this pattern on the right hand side as well as the left hand side. And then to complete this cute little macrame shabby chic banner, you're going to go ahead and do one final row of these square knots using the first 4 cords, the next 4, etc. So that's going to complete your diamond pattern. If you have any questions about macrame knots, I will leave a link to my blog down in the description box below that explains how to do these square knots step by step. Then go ahead and trim the bottom of your banner, and you can also unravel the macrame cord if you want to make a nice fringy look at the bottom of your sign. Then if you'd like, you can go ahead and use some Dollar Tree florals to create almost like a little floral crown look at the top of your pumpkin. I'm using the roses, the hydrangeas, and the wheat heads from the Dollar Tree. And just use hot glue to attach them to the top of the pumpkin. I'm also using those little white foam berries as well, and I love the look of all of these flowers together. It's neutral, but it's still so interesting. And that is the completed boho shabby chic pumpkin from the Farmhouse Dollar Tree pumpkin. I think this looks so sweet. You could hang it on a door, you could hang it on a mantle, you could use it in any sort of fall display, and it is so original and unique. Thanks so much for watching this video today. I hope you enjoyed these Dollar Tree DIYs. Let me know down in those comments below which of these crafts was your favorite and why. I would love to know. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more DIY and decor ideas. I have so many more fall ideas for you coming up this season. Plus I have tons last season that I'd love for you to watch. I'm gonna leave some more videos for you to enjoy right up here.